if you need to come over here, Jalen, come over here.
Okay.
If anybody's use red clay. Okay, are you ready? We're ready? Okay, so when we're talking about wedging clay, are you recording? Okay, good. We're talking about wedging clay. We're forcing the air bubbles out of the clay because otherwise the clay goes boom in the kiln. We don't want the clay to go boom. And what I mean by going boom is it's going to explode. So we want to wedge this clay, and so there's no air bubbles in it. We also are aligning the particles of the clay. What does that mean? Well, if you think about a red blood cell, it kind of looks like a disc, right? If you've ever seen the red pictures of an electron microscope of a red blood cell, it kind of looks like a disc. It's the same thing with clay. Clay particles are like discs. And to wedge them, you will lay them, instead of them going all over the place like this, as a rich way, they'll start laying together and layering on top of one another. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to, bless you, we're going to weigh some clay out. This is our scale that we're going to use over here. And this is pounds. It also measures kilograms. We're not going to worry about kilograms. So when we measure this, we're going to use the outer numbers here. That is the black that you see, okay? So the black on this, and I'll turn it this way so my cameraman can see it, is on the outside. And you're going to use that to weigh out 1 pound of clay. Our practice pinch pot, we're just going to make with 1 pound of clay. When we do our pinch pot that we keep for noodles, that's not going to be enough clay. We need to make a bigger bowl. So we're going to use 2 to 3 pounds of clay, but for now, 1 pound of clay is going to be just fine. Okay, so to make this more convenient, I'm going to bring this scale over here, and I'm going to grab some clay. Now this clay is very, very moist. Another way that you can, another thing that wedging does, I should say, is that wedging can take moisture out of your clay. Okay, so I'm going to put this on here. I've got about almost 3/4 of a pound, a little bit more. All right, that's about a pound. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this table to wedge my clay. Now why am I using this table? Well, this is a wedging table, and this has about 200 or 300 pounds of plaster right here. So you see where it's white? That's all plaster. Now what plaster does is it sucks the moisture out of your clay. So if this clay is too wet, which it is sticking in my hands, then I'm going to want to wedge this a little bit on my table, my wedging table, to get the moisture out. If the moisture is okay, do I want to wedge it here? Probably not, because I'm going to dry it out, okay? So, but this is really wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just push this onto the table, just kind of flop it on there. And you can see that it starts to get onto the table a little bit, right? Now what it's doing is it's going to stick to the table, but then eventually it'll just start sticking to itself. When I'm wedging this, what I'm doing is I'm using the ball of my hand, okay? Using this part of my hand to push the clay into the table, okay? And then I kind of get like a little flat pancake. And then I'm going to fold it over on itself. So I'm going to fold it. And it looks like a taco. All right? I'm going to push it into a flat pancake. Then I'm going to make it into a taco. And I'm going to keep doing that until I have this clay to the consistency that I want. Okay? And also, I'm going to check to see if I've got air bubbles. Well, how do I do that? Well, I need a wire tool. The wire tools are hanging up above sink number 1, right over here. So this is where we keep our wire tools. So I'm just going to grab one, and I can cut this in half, and I can see how I did. So I'm going to take my wire tool, I'm going to cut this, I'm going to clean my wire tool off, put that aside, and I'm going to look. And I don't have any air bubbles in there, so that's good. Now that doesn't mean that there's not air bubbles in other parts, so I'm going to give this a little bit more. Now when I am looking for consistency in my clay, which means what do I want to work with? Well, I don't want to work with clay that's constantly sticking to me, and I don't want to work with clay that's hard. Okay, so how do you tell the difference? Well, right here, okay, on your hand, if you feel this little part right here, that's between your thumb and your pointer finger, that's kind of the consistency of clay that you want. So you can feel this here, and I can feel that, and I can kind of feel if those feel the same. And that's feeling pretty good. I can kind of feel, okay, so yeah, that feels pretty good. Now, if I'm not done wedging this clay, but it's getting dry, I can move to my table. Because remember, this is sucking the moisture out of your clay constantly. It's like, it's real thirsty. If you put water on this, it would just soak right into the table. It's pretty crazy, okay? I mean, we can do that, okay? But really, it's taking that water out of my clay, because this is very sticky. Now, when you're working with clay, some people, they get their hands really dirty, and that's okay with them. I'm one of those people who likes to work with clean hands, because what I don't like is, see all these little pieces of clay that are drying on my hands? I don't want that to get stuck back into my nice clay, all right? So I go ahead and I wash my hands off. Once I'm done wedging, I just like to stay clean while I'm working. I know that seems kind of weird, you know, in a ceramics class that you would do that, but I wash my hands quite a bit in here. So then my hands are nice and clean when I'm working. All right, now what I'm going to do is I prepared my clay. I've wedged it. It's the right consistency. I've got the air bubbles out. I checked it with my wire tool. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to make a sphere. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to throw this back and forth between my hands. And I'm going to use my hands to cup this so I can form this into a ball. Now, when I'm forming this into a ball, I want to make sure that there are no inconsistencies. Okay, and what I mean by that, inconsistencies, is see this little, I'll put this up to this, see this little line in there? It's like a little line in my clay. Okay, that's a crack later. All right, that's a crack later. So I definitely do not want anything even slight like that to be in my clay. So I'm going to go ahead, and if I need to, I can use my finger to smooth that out. And I'm going to make this ball of clay. This is my 1 pound ball of clay. Okay, there, it's ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my towel around it, my fabric towel. I'm going to put it into my bag, into my bucket, and then on Wednesday I am ready to go. I have the ball, I'm ready to make my fish pot. Okay, so before you leave today, we have about 15 minutes. Okay, and then we're going to clean up, and you guys are going to be done. Okay, but you need to get a 1 pound ball of clay wedged and put into the towel, into your plastic, and into the bucket, and back on the shelf. Okay, using red clay here. All right.